Black girl sacrificed her meal for lost little girl, then millionaire's helicopter arrives at her house. What would you do if you knew that a simple act of kindness could change your life forever? Amelia Santos, 14, clutched the $5 she had saved over 3 weeks washing cars at the traffic lights. It was all she had to buy a sandwich and maybe have some change left over for the bus home. Her stomach had been rumbling for hours, reminding her that she had skipped breakfast again. The downtown square was bustling with activity that Saturday afternoon. Families strolled with their baby strollers, couples took selfies near the fountain, and street vendors shouted their wares. Amelia was walking toward the snack trailer when she heard it. Desperate sobs coming from behind a large tree. "Mommy! Mommy!" The small child's cries cut through the air like a knife. Amelia stopped immediately, turning her head toward the sound. There, sitting on the ground with her face red from crying, was a little blonde girl of maybe 4, wearing a pink dress that cost more than Amelia's mother's monthly salary. The child was clearly lost, looking desperately around for a familiar face among the strangers rushing by. Several people noticed the situation but kept walking, avoiding getting involved. "Hi, little one," Amelia said softly, crouching down beside the girl. "What's your name?" "Katie," the child sobbed, wiping her nose on the sleeve of her expensive dress. "I can't find my mommy. We were buying ice cream and then I saw a puppy and—" Amelia looked around. The square was huge, with dozens of different directions the girl's mother could have taken. The panic in Katie's eyes was real and urgent. "It's okay, Katie. We'll find your mom, okay?" Amelia said, though she had no idea how she would do that. That's when she noticed something strange. Across the square, a man in a dark suit was talking on the phone while discreetly observing the situation. His eyes moved between Amelia, the lost child, and what appeared to be a camera in the hands of another equally well-dressed man. Something about the scene didn't seem right, but Katie was still crying and Amelia's stomach was still growling. The decision she made in the next few seconds would not only change the course of that day, but completely rewrite her family's future in a way no one could have imagined. Amelia took Katie's small hand and began walking across the square, looking for a distraught woman who would probably be shouting her daughter's name. They passed the snack trailer, where her sandwich awaited, and continued searching. 20 minutes passed. Nothing. "I'm hungry," Katie murmured, clutching her stomach. Amelia looked at the $5 in her hand, then at the angelic face of the lost girl. It was an impossible choice. Her own hunger versus the despair of a frightened child. But for Amelia Santos, raised by a grandmother who always said, "Those who have little and share have much," there was no choice. "Let's get you a snack," she said, guiding Katie back to the trailer. What Amelia didn't know was that those men in suits were still watching her every move. And that one of their phones would ring in exactly 15 minutes with a call that would change everything. As she watched a lost and hungry child eat the sandwich she had saved up for 3 weeks to buy, Amelia demonstrated the kind of character that some people search for their entire lives without finding. If you're wondering how a simple act of kindness can have unimaginable consequences, subscribe to the channel to find out how this story of sacrifice and compassion is just beginning. As Katie chewed the sandwich with gusto, Amelia discreetly watched the 2 men in suits who continued to monitor the situation from a distance. One of them was talking incessantly on the phone, gesturing in their direction, while the other was writing something down in a small notebook. "Why are those men looking at us?" Katie asked innocently, following Amelia's worried gaze. "I don't know, sweetie. Maybe they're security guards for the square," Amelia lied, trying not to show her growing unease. Something was definitely not right about this situation. Just then, an elegant woman came running up, her high heels echoing on the square's pavement. "Katie! Katie, my love!" she cried, her arms outstretched and tears in her eyes. The little girl jumped off the table and ran toward the woman. "Mommy! I was lost, and this nice lady helped me." Katie's mother was clearly wealthy. Her dress cost more than Amelia's family's monthly rent, and the bag she carried was a brand Amelia only saw in the magazines she leafed through at the supermarket. But what caught Amelia's attention most were her eyes, red from crying, genuinely desperate. Thank you," the woman said, hugging Amelia tightly. "I don't know how to thank you. My name is Jennifer Wellington, and when I realized Katie was missing—" Wellington. Amelia knew that surname. She had seen it on billboards around town, on commercial buildings, even on television. The Wellingtons owned the largest chain of hospitals and clinics in the region. It was nothing, ma'am. Anyone would have done the same, Amelia replied shyly, noticing that the men in suits were now approaching the small group. No, dear. Not everyone would have done that, Jennifer said, her words laden with a meaning Amelia couldn't quite grasp. Especially not by sacrificing your own meal for a complete stranger. How did she know about the sandwich? Before Amelia could process this information, one of the men in suits reached them. He was tall, gray-haired, and carried a leather briefcase that looked like it cost more than Amelia's mother's used car. Mrs. Wellington, he said formally, the car is ready. Shall we go? Jennifer looked at Amelia for a long moment, as if memorizing every detail of her face. Yes, Johnson. But first, she opened her expensive purse and took out a wallet full of cash. Please accept this as a token of my gratitude. I can't accept this, Amelia recoiled instinctively. Her grandmother had always taught her that kindness should not be repaid. I did it because it was the right thing to do. Jennifer smiled, but she didn't put the money away. Instead, she did something unexpected. She took out an elegant business card and wrote something on the back. Then let me ask you a question. How old are you? 14. And what do you like to do most? Amelia hesitated. It was a strange question coming from a complete stranger, but something in Jennifer's soft voice made her answer honestly. I study a lot. I want to be a doctor one day, to help people who can't afford treatment. My grandmother says it's too big a dream for a girl like me, but, she stopped, realizing she was revealing too much about her life to someone she didn't know. Your grandmother is wrong, Jennifer said firmly. No dream is too big for someone with a big heart. She handed Amelia the card. I want you to keep this. And I want you to call me on Monday, okay? Amelia took the card, confused. On the back, Jennifer had written a phone number and 3 words that made her heart race: scholarship. I don't understand. You'll understand on Monday. I promise. Jennifer kissed Katie on the forehead and walked to a luxurious black car that Amelia hadn't noticed before, parked discreetly next to the square. But before getting into the vehicle, Jennifer turned around one last time. Amelia Santos, right? Amelia's eyes widened. She had never told that woman her full name. How did you? See you on Monday, Jennifer said with a mysterious smile, getting into the car, which drove away silently. Amelia stood in the middle of the square, staring at the card in her hands. Wellington Medical Foundation, Jennifer Wellington, Executive Director. On the back, in addition to the phone number and words about scholarships, there was something else written in small print: character test, passed. Character test? It was then that everything made sense in a frightening way. The lost child, the men watching, the way Jennifer knew details she shouldn't have known. It hadn't been a coincidence. It had been a test. And she had no idea she was being evaluated. That night, at home, Amelia told her grandmother, Dona Conceição, everything. The 67-year-old woman, who cleaned offices at dawn to support her granddaughter, listened silently as she prepared a simple dinner of rice and beans. Grandma, do you think I should call? Dona Conceição dried her hands on her worn apron and sat down next to her granddaughter. Honey, do you remember the story I always tell you about angels in disguise? I remember. Sometimes they come to test our hearts. And sometimes, she smiled, touching her granddaughter's face tenderly, they come to reward those who pass the test. But what neither of them could have imagined was that, at that very moment, in a mansion across town, Jennifer Wellington was finishing a very important phone call. Yes, I confirm it. We found our candidate, she said on the phone. Amelia Santos, 14 years old. Impeccable character, exceptional academic potential based on the school reports we've obtained, and most importantly, she chose kindness even when it cost her everything she had. The voice on the other end of the line belonged to the director of the most powerful medical foundation in the country. Are you sure, Jennifer? The full scholarship program is a long-term investment. We're talking about undergraduate, graduate, and specialized studies. More than $500,000 per candidate. Absolutely. She didn't hesitate for a second to give her only meal to a strange child. And when I offered her money as a reward, she refused immediately. That's exactly the kind of doctor this world needs. What if she fails? What if she can't keep up with the academic level required? Jennifer looked out the window of her office toward the square where it had all happened. People who go through this kind of test don't fail. They find a way to win. What Amelia didn't know was that her life was about to change in a way that her wildest imagination couldn't have imagined. And that simple act of sharing a sandwich had just opened a door to a future that would transform not only her life, but the lives of thousands of people she would go on to help. Mondays would never be the same again. Neither would she. But before that phone call changed everything, Jennifer needed to be absolutely sure she had chosen the right person. So on Monday, Amelia would discover that the test was not over. In fact, it was just beginning. On Monday morning, Amelia held Jennifer Wellington's elegant card with slightly trembling hands. Dona Conceição had insisted that she call at exactly 9 o'clock, like a punctual and respectful woman. The voice that answered on the other end of the line was professional but warm. "Amelia? I'm glad you called. I'm Jennifer Wellington. I hope you've thought about our conversation." "Yes, ma'am." "About the scholarship," Amelia hesitated, not quite sure how to broach the subject. "I need you to come to our office today at 4 o'clock. There are some people who would like to meet you. The address is on the card." Jennifer's voice carried an urgency that had not been present on Saturday. "And Amelia? Bring your school reports from the last 2 years. All of them." The Wellington Medical Foundation's office occupied 3 floors of a glass building in the city center. Amelia had never been in such a luxurious place. The marble floor reflected the crystal lights on the ceiling, and the walls were decorated with plaques of recognition and photos of Jennifer with politicians and celebrities. "You're early." "That's good," said the receptionist, an elegant middle-aged woman. "Ms. Wellington is in a video conference with investors in New York, but she'll be done in a few minutes." While she waited, Amelia noticed a picture on the wall that made her freeze. It was a photo of the foundation's medical team at a rural hospital, and in the center was a man she recognized immediately, Dr. Michael Torres, the doctor who had tried to save her father 3 years ago. "Do you know Dr. Torres?" Jennifer's voice came from behind her. Amelia turned, surprised. He treated my father before he passed away. Stomach cancer. My father didn't have insurance, but Dr. Torres never gave up, even though he knew he wouldn't get paid." Jennifer smiled softly. "Michael mentioned your family during our last meeting. He said you were the most determined girl he ever met, always asking about the procedures, wanting to understand every detail of the treatment. Did you talk to him about me?" "We talked to a lot of people, Amelia. That's the process." Jennifer gestured for her to follow her down the hall. "The scholarship we offer isn't just money for college. It's an investment in the next generation of leaders in social medicine." They entered a meeting room where 3 people were waiting around an imposing table. Jennifer made the introductions: Dr. Richard Hayes, director of the scholarship program, Professor Carmen Rodriguez, academic coordinator, and to Amelia's complete surprise, Dr. Michael Torres. "Hello again, Amelia," Dr. Torres said warmly. "When Jennifer told me about the incident in the square, I knew immediately that it was you. The same girl who asked questions smarter than medical students." Dr. Hayes opened a thick folder. "Amelia, your teachers speak of you with rare admiration. Perfect grades in science, natural leadership, and according to Ms. Patterson, an intuitive understanding of complex social issues." "But," Professor Rodriguez interrupted, "full scholarships for medical school are extremely competitive. We're talking about 8 years of study, plus residency. An investment of approximately $700,000. The number was so astronomical that Amelia had trouble processing it. Her entire family wouldn't earn that much in 10 years. "That's why," Dr. Hayes continued, "we need to be absolutely certain about your character and determination. The square test was only the first step." Jennifer leaned forward. "Amelia, what I'm about to propose may seem strange, but it's necessary. We want you to spend the next month doing volunteer internships in 3 different settings: a public hospital, a rural clinic, and a rehabilitation center for drug addicts." "A month," Amelia quickly calculated. "But I have school, and I work washing cars to help my grandmother." "We've already talked to your school. Your teachers have agreed to give you extra work so you don't miss the semester. And as for the job," Jennifer slid an envelope across the table. "This will cover your family's expenses during that time." Amelia opened the envelope and gasped. There was $2,000 in cash. I can't accept this without working. Dr. Torres laughed softly. You will work, I assure you. These internships are intense. 16 hours per week at each location, in addition to your regular studies. We want to see how you react under real pressure, how you interact with patients from different social backgrounds, and especially, how you handle situations where you have to make difficult ethical decisions, Jennifer concluded. There isn't always a right answer in medicine. Sometimes you have to choose between what is protocol and what is humane. Professor Rodriguez added, other candidates have tried these internships before. Half of them quit in the first week. The ones who finished, well, only 2 in the last 5 years really impressed us. What if I don't make it? Amelia asked, her voice showing signs of uncertainty for the first time. Then you're not the right person for this program, Dr. Hayes said bluntly. But if you succeed, if you demonstrate that you have not only the intelligence, but the emotional and ethical resilience we seek. Jennifer smiled. Then you haven't just won a full scholarship. You've won a place in the Wellington family. And a family that invests billions of dollars annually in hospitals and clinics that serve underserved communities. Dr. Torres stood up. Amelia, remember when you asked why I continued to treat patients who couldn't pay? I said it was because medicine isn't a business, it's a mission. If you accept this challenge, you'll have the chance to prove that you think the same way. That night, at home, Amelia told Dona Conceição everything. The elderly woman listened quietly, occasionally nodding her head. Grandma, what do you think? Can I do it? Dona Conceição took her granddaughter's hands. My dear, your parents didn't die so that you could dream small. Your father always said that you had something special, a light that doctors recognized. Maybe it's time to find out if he was right. But what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Then at least you tried. But something tells me that these doctors saw in you what I've seen for 14 years, a girl who doesn't accept injustice silently and who would do anything to help those in need. The next morning, Amelia called Jennifer Wellington. I accept the challenge. Perfect. Start tomorrow at the General Hospital. Dr. Torres will be your direct supervisor. And Amelia. Jennifer's voice carried a mysterious note. Get ready. What you've experienced so far has only been the warm-up. What Amelia didn't know was that while she was preparing for the biggest challenge of her life, Jennifer Wellington was on the phone with the Foundation's board of directors. She accepts the full internship program, Jennifer reported. But I must remind you, if she passes all the tests, we won't just be giving her a scholarship. We'll be offering her a position on the Foundation's executive board after her residency. Are you sure about this, Jennifer? The president's voice sounded concerned. We're talking about a 14-year-old girl from the suburbs. An executive position means responsibility for hundreds of millions of dollars. That's exactly why the tests are so rigorous. But if she can prove what I believe she can prove, Jennifer looked out the window toward the neighborhood where Amelia lived, then we found not only an exceptional doctor, but a future leader who can revolutionize how social medicine works in this country. What Jennifer didn't reveal to the board was that she had already made a personal decision. If Amelia passed all the tests, she would not only receive a full scholarship, she would also receive something that could change not only her life, but the fate of her entire community. But first, she would need to survive what was to come. And the next 30 days would reveal whether a girl who sacrificed her meal for a stranger truly had the inner strength necessary to carry the weight of transforming lives through medicine. The first day at General Hospital would begin in 12 hours. And with it, challenges that would test not only her intelligence, but her soul. The third stage at the Drug Rehabilitation Center tested Amelia in ways she never expected. Dr. Torres had warned her that it would be challenging, but nothing prepared her for what she encountered in the first week. You're just a kid, scoffed Derek, a 40-year-old man in recovery. What can you know about addiction and real suffering? His words echoed through the group therapy room, where Amelia was assisting as an observer. Other patients laughed, some cruelly, others bitterly. To them, a 14-year-old girl represented everything they had lost: innocence, opportunity, hope. My father died of an overdose when I was 11, Amelia replied calmly, her voice cutting through the laughter like a sharp blade. My mother died 2 years later of cancer because she didn't have the money for treatment after spending everything trying to save my father. So maybe I know more about suffering than you think. The silence that followed was deafening. For the next 2 weeks, Amelia worked 16 hours a week at the center, in addition to her responsibilities at the public hospital and rural clinic. Her schedule was brutal: school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., internships from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., studying until midnight. But something extraordinary began to happen. Patients who had initially rejected her began to seek her out. Derek, the same one who had mocked her, asked to talk to her privately. "How can you not hate? How can you not be angry?" he asked, tears in his eyes. "I lost my family, my job, my dignity. And you, who have lost so much too, continue to help people." "Because anger consumes, but kindness builds," Amelia replied, words her grandmother had repeated thousands of times. "And because I believe that everyone deserves a second chance." It was during this conversation that Derek revealed something that would change everything. "You know, there are people watching you. Important people. I saw 2 men in suits talking to the director about your performance here." The following week, during a particularly difficult shift at the public hospital, Amelia faced her greatest test. A medical emergency. A 6-year-old child arrived unconscious after a car accident. The family was desperate, and there weren't enough doctors. Dr. Torres was in surgery. Other doctors were attending to critical cases. Amelia found herself alone with an experienced nurse and a family in total panic. "What do we do?" whispered the nurse. "Protocol says to wait, but this child." Amelia looked at the unconscious child, then at the desperate parents. She remembered every procedure she had observed, every technique she had studied obsessively during her internships. "Let's stabilize her," she said with a confidence that surprised even herself. "I know what to do." For 20 crucial minutes, Amelia coordinated first aid, guided the nurse, and kept the child stable until Dr. Torres arrived. When he finally showed up, the situation was under control. "How did you know how to do that?" Dr. Torres asked afterward, clearly impressed. "I watched, I studied, and when the time came, I just did what needed to be done." That evening, Dr. Torres made a call to Jennifer Wellington. She didn't just pass the test. She exceeded every possible expectation. "In 20 years of medicine, I've never seen anyone so young with such keen medical instincts." The next day, Amelia was called back to the Wellington Medical Foundation office. But this time, the room was full. Jennifer Wellington, Dr. Torres, Professor Rodriguez, Dr. Hayes, and 3 other people she didn't know. "Amelia," Jennifer began, her voice thick with emotion, "you have completed 30 days of the most rigorous internships we have ever administered. Your supervisors report exceptional performance in all areas." "More than exceptional," Dr. Hayes added. "Dr. Torres told us about the incident at the hospital. You saved a life using knowledge that most third-year medical students don't possess." Jennifer stood up. "Therefore, we would like to make a different proposal than the original one." She opened a folder and revealed documents that took Amelia's breath away. It wasn't just a scholarship. It was a full contract for an accelerated program that included individual mentoring, internships at internationally renowned hospitals, and, after graduation, a position as medical director of a new clinic that would be built specifically in her community. "The Amelia Santos Clinic," Jennifer said softly, "will be our next big venture. A full-service medical center that will serve your community free of charge, funded entirely by our foundation." "You want to name a clinic after me?" "We want you to be its founder and director," Dr. Torres corrected. "You have demonstrated something that cannot be taught, the ability to lead with compassion under extreme pressure." One of the men Amelia didn't know introduced himself. "I'm Dr. William Chun, director of the largest pediatric hospital on the East Coast. I'd like to offer you an internship position during your school breaks, working directly with me." The second stranger spoke up, Professor Anna Richardson, Harvard Medical School. "We have a special opening in our mentoring program for exceptional students. It would start at age 16. The third added, Dr. Roberto Silva, Stanford University. "Our Global Medical Leadership Program. It includes internships in Africa, Asia, and Latin America." Amelia looked around the room, trying to process what she was hearing. It wasn't just a scholarship. It was a complete path to becoming one of the best-prepared doctors in the country, with the resources to transform her community in ways she had never dreamed of. "There's only one condition," Jennifer said seriously. "You can never forget where you came from. And you can never stop choosing kindness over self-interest. What if I fail? What if I can't live up to all these expectations? Dr. Torres smiled. Amelia, you just coordinated a medical emergency as if you had 10 years of experience. You earned the trust of addicted patients who initially rejected you. You sacrificed your own meal for a strange child. Jennifer added, failure is not an option for someone with your character. And even if it did, we'd be here to help you get back up. As Amelia signed the documents that would change not only her life but the future of her entire community, she realized something profound. Sometimes the greatest miracles begin with the smallest acts of kindness. But what none of them could have imagined was that this story still had one final twist. One that would prove that when you plant seeds of compassion, the universe sometimes responds with a harvest that goes far beyond your wildest dreams. The true magnitude of what had just happened would only be revealed when that helicopter finally landed on her street, carrying a surprise that would transform not only her life, but the lives of everyone she loved most. 3 years later, Amelia was in her senior year of high school when the deafening noise cut through the Saturday morning air on Elm Street. A black helicopter landed on the empty lot next to her house, causing neighbors to rush to their windows. Jennifer Wellington stepped out of the aircraft carrying a gold briefcase and a smile that held secrets. Amelia, it's time to meet your future. The briefcase contained something that made Dona Conceição cry, the keys to a fully equipped medical clinic, secretly built over the last 6 months in the center of the community. Conceição Santos Clinic, Jennifer announced. Named after the woman who raised the most promising doctor I have ever met. But there was more. A full scholarship to Harvard, internships at international hospitals, and a bank account with enough funds to support not only Amelia, but her entire family for decades. Why all this? Amelia asked, still processing the magnitude of the transformation. Because kindness multiplied by adequate resources can change the world, Jennifer replied. And because a girl who sacrifices her meal for a stranger deserves to see what happens when generosity meets opportunity. Today, Dr. Amelia Santos runs 3 clinics that serve thousands of people free of charge. Derek, the former addict who tested her at the rehab center, now works as a counselor at one of her facilities. The square where it all began has a plaque that reads, "Small acts, big transformations." Jennifer Wellington learned that investing in character generates returns that are impossible to calculate. And Amelia discovered that when you choose kindness, the universe conspires to multiply your ability to do good. The real magic wasn't in the helicopter or the millions invested. It was in the decision of a 14-year-old girl who chose to feed a stranger with her only meal, proving that heroes aren't born with silver spoons in their mouths. They're born in hearts that choose to love even when they have little to give. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel to discover more stories that prove that kindness is never weakness. It is the most transformative force in the world.